Good evening. It's September 10th, and I want to share some things that I've really not shared with anyone else in 23 years. Of course, tomorrow is the 23rd anniversary of 9/11. I was hundreds of miles away from the event. I was 11 years old, but I still remember where I was. I remember the emotions that I felt. I remember watching my family be sad along with the rest of America, and watching people in my church family mourn the loss of friends and relatives that had perished in the attack. But something that I've always had trouble talking about is what I experienced on September 10th. And that was a very bizarre dream. Now, I try to be very careful talking about dreams, but at about 11 years old, this dream that I had, I really had no context for it to be formed in my mind, no reason for it to be there. And so when the events of the next morning, the 11th, took place, it struck me that the dream was, I don't want to use the word prophetic necessarily, but it was spiritual in nature, we'll just put it that way. And I only remember a brief snippet of the dream. And that was, I was envisioning we were under attack. I didn't really know what that meant at the time. I mean, I'd seen some war movies at that point in my life, but like our nation here in America was under attack, and there were fighters that were attacking us. And I distinctly remember what one of these fighters looked like, and it was a character that resembled Osama bin Laden. Long beard, kind of a turban. And I remember in the dream not knowing what to do. And my dad stepped between me and this figure and began to fight this figure. And my dad grabbed his firearm, which up until that point in my life, I'd only ever seen him use for hunting purposes. And kind of the last vision of the dream was my dad leveling that revolver, and I woke up. And I remember like being kind of disturbed by it, didn't know what the dream was all about. But then just a few hours later, we came back from a dentist appointment and turned on the news, and there were the smoking Twin Towers and the Pentagon, and a little after, of course, the field in Pennsylvania. And I remember as information came across the screen about who could have perpetrated the attacks, and my mother trying to explain to me what a terrorist was. And at that point, I had no language to understand what that was. I had not seen any movies depicting that. And of course, in the weeks and days to follow, images of Osama bin Laden, of course, were on the screen. And I remember kind of breaking down, crying, and I didn't know how to talk to my parents about it at the time, but that was the face from my dream. Of course, as I got older and approached the age where I could serve in the military, I kind of felt that I had a duty to go into the military, but also felt that there was some resistance from family and friends and expectations on my life, and something I wrestled with. And I did try to join a few times, went and talked to different recruiters, and God continued to close that door for me. I have no issue whatsoever with folks who serve, and I honor them and respect them greatly, and have close brothers who are serving now. But that was not the door for my life at that time. But I share all that to say the moments of September 10th, whatever that dream was meant to stir in me, continued to stir. And it's foundational to why I've created this channel, and why I continue to do the things that I do, why I am wearing boots and I'm sitting in the backyard of this house where we're staying, and I'm currently armed. Not because I necessarily fear anything, but I feel that it is my calling and my duty as an American citizen to be ready to respond to whatever may threaten me or my family or my community or my country. I know a lot has been said on this topic. I don't believe that I live in fear, but I do believe that especially that time opened my eyes. I know it opened the eyes of many Americans to the realities of life, the realities that even though we sit here and enjoy the warm creature comforts of this blessed land, that this world is still broken, and there is unsleeping evil. I think that's a Tolkien quote. Sleepless evil, maybe, that is seeking to destroy the good in this world. And we can continue to just sit back and sip our coffee, enjoy our beautiful views, and forget about the world, and forget about what's going on, forget about the folks that are out there standing against the evil on our behalf, the folks that are running into the flames like we witnessed on September 11th to rescue people, the firemen, the policemen, all those brave heroes that ran in only to not come out themselves. My question to you is, which direction would you run? I hope I know the answer to that for me. And I think that's the way we need to live our lives, prepared to run in, prepared to stand up against evil, prepared to reach out and help our neighbors. And we need to do that every day, even when the sky is blue and there are no clouds billowing. Every day is a battle. And sometimes that battle is against our own fleshly desire for comfort and ease. Not that peace is a bad thing. Peace is a wonderful thing, but we do have to keep in mind constantly that the blessing of peace comes at a cost. We can't just sit idly by and ignore those who are paying the cost on our behalf. We need to be a part of that effort. There's one other thing I'll share, a connection, so to speak, with 9/11. I don't want to give specifics just to help protect my identity and my family, but I went to a college where one of the hijackers had actually been a student many years before, almost a decade before. And I knew some of the faculty that knew this student before he perpetrated the attacks. And kind of just a really sad anecdote, received firsthand, or secondhand, I guess, from the faculty that knew this young man. He had come from Saudi Arabia with the intent to perpetrate the attack. That was why he was here, at least as far as the investigation has revealed. But those that knew him at the school testified that he was kind of reclusive, and it was made worse by the fact that some of the, I'll just use the term rednecks. I know not all quote-unquote rednecks are this way, but I use that term harshly here. Treated him with disdain, with racist intent. They picked on him, and one of the pinnacle things that occurred to him is they defecated in his shoes, because as a Mid-Easterner, he would leave his shoes outside his door. And so some of the other college students would prank him in that way. And I've always wondered, what if one of them had chosen to stand up for him? And what if one of them had shown him some true Christian love? Would he have changed his mind? Would he have changed his focus? Could he have been the one that in the moments when the hijack took place, that his courage faltered, and he, well, I say courage lightly there, that his determination to cause harm faltered, and he courageously decided not to do that harm? Now, that's the realm of what ifs, but that story continues to follow me. And so when I see individuals that don't look like me, individuals that might look like the face that I saw in my dream, I do seek to smile at them and offer the hand of friendship. Because you never know when showing love to a potential enemy may change the heart of that enemy. And we are commanded as Christian believers to love our enemies. Doesn't mean they stop being our enemies just because we love them, but it does give them that opportunity. Do I love my enemy enough to stop that person from doing more harm to themselves and others? That's one way to think about it and to look at it. I think C.S. Lewis said around some of his interviews in World War II that one of the most Christian things a person could do is to call out and stop the evil rising up in another person. And he meant that in the context of war. I'm paraphrasing that. The point being, every day we are going to be confronted with potential opportunities to engage in love and in war. Don't know what the future holds. I know who holds the future. I hope you do too. I'm sorry if you're getting some background noise, some loud trucks driving by. Last thing I'll share, as I said, I knew some folks at church that had family members that passed, but I'd never met those family members who passed in the attack. But recently I was visiting a firehouse, and on the wall of the firehouse was an American flag made with all the names of those who died. And I found, I believe, the name of that relative that had passed. And that was a profound moment, just to look at that, thousands of names on that flag, and see the one name that I know his parents, and know that their son was never coming home. please know that my prayers go out to the Lord on behalf of the families of all those who lost loved ones in the attack of 9/11, all of those who have lost loved ones in the foreign wars since. You know, the issue of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan are topics all unto themselves and things that I'm still untangling. I know that the individuals who went over with right intentions. But I sure do hope that the conflict will end soon and will end peaceably. And we here in America will find the proper balance between self-responsibility, self-regulation, and protection without intrusion of personal rights. It's a complicated mess. I probably shouldn't go down that rabbit hole right now, or this video might get taken down. Thank you for joining me. If you've stuck this far, enjoy a cup of coffee, enjoy the beautiful view, the blessings of peace. But remember, on this side of eternity, or until Jesus comes back, every day is an opportunity of love and war, and we should all be engaged in both. You guys take care.